My name's Rusty Corhonen, and I've got a story for you. My wife and I got married and moved into a really cute little house. And the reason I bought this house was the size of the attic. It's a cute little red brick house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And the thing I really liked about it the most was that the attic was very large and I could easily make it into a master bedroom. So we lived there for a little while and then decided we were going to have a baby. So as we're expecting, I decided it's time to get this attic finished. I asked my dad if he'd help me. I'd never done any type of construction work like this, and my dad was gracious enough to help me. So we gutted everything out and put up the structure, and I had this great idea because one end of the attic was huge, and so I cut out a very large picture window. My wife was about 8 months pregnant, so we cut this picture window out, and I was almost finished with everything. And I decided that, okay, it's too much work. We just got it cut out and everything's set. It was about 11 o'clock at night, so I said, let's do this tomorrow. There was no rain in the forecast, so I could easily leave it open. And I decided to put in a couple more pieces of drywall as my dad was cleaning up. And the drill jumped and jumped off the drywall screw and went in through my finger, kind of punctured it a little bit. It didn't hurt too bad, but my dad, being a doctor, he prescribed me antibiotics. I ran to the corner pharmacy and took the antibiotics, said goodbye to my dad, and hit the sack. Shut the attic door. It was a really tight door, and my wife had put a shoe rack on the back side of this attic door that must have had 30 pairs of high-heeled shoes. These things look like spikes sticking out of the door. And one thing about antibiotics, I have normal dreams, but they're very vivid, and they're deep. When I take an antibiotic, for some reason, I have these real vivid dreams. They're like in Technicolor. So that night I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming of construction and dreaming of all the stuff that we'd been doing. And then I had this really strange dream that I was in the emergency room, and my dad had opened up the arteries and veins and showing all of them to me on this table. And then he said, okay, here's all the tendons, and he pulls the tendons and moves each one of my fingers. And I thought, that's amazing. I mean, in my dream, I was having these thoughts like, boy, I know this is a dream, but that's really amazing. And then I felt this tarantula crawl across my face and sit on my face like this. And I thought, wow, I'm gonna have to write this down when I wake up. This is really amazing. I could feel its fur on my mouth, and well, something made me wake up. And there was something sitting on my face, its fur in my mouth. So I woke up and I looked, I went, oh, and I hit it. And I got up and I was in this little ball, just screaming for breath, going, I was so disgusted by it. And my wife, who was about 9 months pregnant at that point, kind of got up clumsily and said, it's just a moth. Well, this moth, I had hit it and it hit the wall and it was laying on the end of the bed. Well, just as she said that, it took off. And this was a bat with at least 7 or 8 inch wingspan. And I was so freaked out, it took me a long time for my brain to kind of catch up. So I went out into the living room, and sure enough, he's flying around the living room. It took me a while to shoo him out with a blanket. So I sat down, and I was so freaked out I wasn't going right back to bed. I looked and the door was closed. I don't know how he got in the house. And I've heard that a bat can find a little hole, but with all those shoes and the door being shut, I know he got in through the attic, but I have no idea how he got in the house. But I sat down on the couch and So my wife was sitting there and she said, "Was that really a bat?" I said, "Have you ever seen a moth that big?" Of course it was a bat. And she shook her head, and so did I. If that had landed on her, I'm pretty sure she would have delivered right there. But I've never liked bats. Never really. But that thought just still makes my skin crawl. And I'd always make sure that all the windows are closed. There's no way one of those can get in my house.